Today we continue our Commitment 2022 series, hearing from the candidates seeking the GOP Senate nomination. There are 6 candidates vying for your vote and the chance to replace Richard Shelby in the U.S. Senate. So far, I've caught up with a number of the candidates on the campaign trail talking about a number of issues, from the conflict in Ukraine to the economy, the recent Supreme Court confirmation process, and what their top priorities would be if they head to Washington. We'll start today with GOP Senate hopeful Jake Schaefer, who says this is what sets him apart from others in the GOP field.
If you want someone who, anytime an issue comes up, I will gather as much information as I can. Then I will look to the Constitution, because no matter what you do, you can't violate that. That's the point, right? Everyone swears an oath to uphold the Constitution, and no one seems to do it. So I will gather information, look at the Constitution, as best to my abilities, hear what the people of Alabama want, and then articulate what they want in Washington. And that is the job. And I don't think very many people do it very well.
We spoke about a number of issues, including the recent confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. He tells me if he were in the Senate, he would have voted no, expressing concern over her sentencing record on child pornography cases and answers to questions before the Judicial Committee on the definition of a woman. On the economy, he says cutting wasteful spending is just one piece of the puzzle.
The government often steps in and makes things worse. And if they were to just step back and try to keep things consistent, because you need to have a consistent environment for business to thrive. So if they were to step back and let businesses do their thing, I think that would be the quickest way to getting ourselves out of this crisis, which is only going to get much worse, truthfully, I think, before it gets any better.
We also discussed Ukraine. Mr. Schaefer said in general he supports Ukraine, but also needs to know more about the situation beyond news headlines to address it. If elected, he tells me there are 2 other areas he wants to focus on. First, election integrity, making sure every state does an audit. And second, he wants the U.S. to refocus its approach to education and switch to a voucher school choice system.
Parents need to have not just a say, I think they need to have the only say on where their kids go to school, whether it be private school, homeschool, charter school, or even still the local public school if it's there. If we switch to that, the voucher system, the parents having more power, which is what I want, having more choice, you'll start to see more private schools and charter schools pop up. You'll see more people homeschool. And I think you'll see the education as a whole begin to rise again.
One final topic we spoke about, bipartisanship. He says he brings to Washington a desire to get to know other lawmakers and their state's priorities if he's elected.
I think we're better when we're united. We're at our strongest when we're united. So it is not like I want to just tear this country apart. It's the exact opposite. I want the federal government to have less power. That's true because I'm a big fan of states' rights. But I want the states to be able to work together. And I'm very open to that. But I don't think you can do that until you can actually go there and start meeting their representatives.
More of my conversations with GOP Senate hopefuls in the weeks ahead. And as always, we've got you covered with candidate profiles and voting information right now on the WVTM 13 app. I'm Ian Wrights, WVTM 13 News.